Welcome back to a very special episode of TV Show in Space. I am your host, Lieutenant Commander Rebecca Frost, joined by Let's Go Taco Kerry Jackson, Lower Decker Quad T Tony, and Wesley Crusher's favorite friend, Jake Black, is back with us.
Yeah.
How is everybody?
All right.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Survived the week.
Yeah.
Springtime.
Lower deck's good. Everything's good down here.
Yeah. And the upper deck?
I'm in my bunk.
Oh, gross. You can't podcast from there.
This isn't Firefly. It doesn't mean the same.
We have an interesting batch of episodes today. We're almost to the end of Star Trek The Next Generation. So we will be talking about Eye of the Beholder, Genesis, Journey's End, and Firstborn. And let's start with Eye of the Beholder. And you guys did a very good job of withholding information from me.
Yeah.
As a young lieutenant aboard the Enterprise commits suicide, his shipmates deal with the loss, and Deanna deals with feelings surrounding her as she and Worf begin to form a relationship.
If you were a fish, the hook would have been in your intestines.
Oh, they got me right away. Listen, Deanna and Worf, they are not endgame to me, but I do ship them quite a bit. I like it. I approve of it. I enjoy it. So Starfleet Lieutenant Daniel Kwan commits a suicide for no obvious reason during his work on board. He tinkers with the ship's plasma core, causing it to overflow, and then jumps right into the overflow before Worf and Riker can get him to stop from committing suicide. Before jumping in, Daniel mentions that they laughed at me and that he didn't want to do it. Deanna is determined to find out what to tell the crew and, most of all, his parents. I do love an episode, and I don't know that we've gotten many of them, where Deanna is on a mission and Deanna has to solve a mystery. And I don't think we've really had an episode like that in the past. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Deanna.
I can't think of one like that.
There's
Well, there was the mystery of why she's on a Romulan ship.
Oh, yeah, there was that one.
That was more for us to solve.
a couple of times she's lost her powers and
Yeah.
fallen under the sway of a manipulative
Oh,
jerk.
that is true. So Daniel's mother was a Napian and his father was human. Daniel was dating Ensign Maddie Calloway, a medical technician in sickbay. Just the morning of the suicide, he noted in his personal log that he was looking forward to spending time with her. He also mentioned spending 2 extra shifts in the nacelle tubes in a row and was looking forward to his downtime. Does not sound like someone who's looking to commit suicide.
No.
Deanna meets with Maddie, and Maddie mentions that Daniel felt Lieutenant Nara, his superior in the nacelle tube section, was threatened by him. Daniel was also part empath from his mother's side, and Maddie says that it was not like him to take his own life. Nara tells Deanna that Daniel was excellent at his work and she has no complaints about him. Deanna visits the location of the suicide and is suddenly overcome by a flood of emotions that overwhelm her senses. It is not possible since there cannot be any emotions in an empty room. Insane. Riker thinks that it was an empathic echo left by Daniel's death. Insane for Riker to be the one proposing this.
He's like, Did you think about, I am an expert
I'm an expert in feelings.
feelings and empathy.
Well,
mansplaining empathy. Yeah.
Well, he did spend a lot of time on Beta Z.
That's
So,
true.
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm
remember
sure
what
he
I
picked
taught you?
something up.
Well, he was busy tromboning. He learned some things about.
Oh,
Tony,
about,
how long have you been sitting
psychology.
on that one?
I just got it. I just made it up. That's right off the cuff.
what I love is how they contact this kid's mother, and she says, well, he's never committed suicide before. This
Yeah.
isn't like him at all.
This is unusual.
Very strong. He was such a quiet neighbor. Vibes.
Yes, exactly.
Never noticed anything unusual.
Yeah.
Deanna visits the nacelle tubes again, but this time with Worf, and is transported, air quotes, back to the time when the ship was docked at Utopia Planitia 8 years ago. Planitia. Thank you. Yeah. Seeing the words and reading them is different from seeing them on the TV. She sees echoes of a young woman having an affair and then being tortured by another man. It seems like Daniel was in love with the woman, and he found her cheating on him with another man. They both laughed at him. Perhaps this led Daniel to torturing the woman. And since Daniel was partially empathic and was at Utopia Planitia, everyone thinks Deanna saw the events through his eyes. Meanwhile, Worf is having unexplained romantic feelings for Deanna. Unexplained.
Come on.
Literally, there's a scene earlier with him and Riker in 10 Forward, and Worf is like, should I?
Well, it's not unexplained. It's been placed in his head because of that multiverse episode that we had earlier.
Exactly.
This has been brewing within Worf for a minute, methinks.
Whoever wrote the summary was...
well, maybe I shouldn't go down this road, but also in a previous episode, he invited her to become his stepsister.
Yeah.
Well,
and to take care of Alexander should anything happen.
Yeah.
So Deanna searches through the personnel records on Utopia Planitia and finds the mysterious man to be Lieutenant Walter Pierce, who is now serving on the Enterprise. Walter was Daniel's supervisor at Utopia Planitia. Deanna confronts Walter, who says he doesn't recollect anything from his time on Utopia 8 years ago, and Deanna can't read him.
Something fishy about that guy.
Fishy. That night, Worf propositions Deanna, and they do it, you guys. And
they have a lovely evening together.
I messaged all of you in such a frenzy.
Yeah.
Because I was caught so off guard. And I was like, oh my God, this is all I ever wanted. I cannot believe you guys didn't tell me this. And I'm so glad you guys didn't. And then he's making her breakfast the next day.
See, and I know you're all for this, Rebecca, but I'm against it. You
know, why?
I just don't like these two as a couple.
I
just
think they're a good couple too, actually.
Yeah.
35 years I've been.
Yeah.
We have a split decision
Jake is very vocal, like hard no. So
especially because I know what comes later, and that's the real reason.
Yes, exactly.
Like I said, they are not endgame for me.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice detour.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. The next day, after Worf makes breakfast for Deanna,
I made you Eggo waffle.
Money's on the side table. She.
Right, you made the joke, not me.
I didn't want to.
But
a blood wine syrup for those Eggos.
Yes.
So,
please.
Deanna then later finds Worf talking to another female ensign, and she's like, "Okay, this is fine."
What's going on here?
Goes back to the nacelle tubes again and senses something behind the walls. Geordi and Data scan the skeleton, and they find a skeleton embedded in the walls. The skeleton was found behind a panel that Daniel was working on 2 days before his death. The bones are identified to be of Ensign Marla Finn, who was reporting missing from Utopia Planitia 8 years ago. Now I'm questioning, if someone within Starfleet goes missing, what's the search like? What does that look like? How deep do they go into this?
You gotta remember, Federation and Earth is just a big socialist commune. So if someone goes missing, they're just like, I guess they wanted to leave. Oh, well.
Oh, I mean, they check their personal logs first, right? I mean, apparently everybody is good at keeping a diary in the future.
Everyone has a diary.
Yeah,
I certainly don't.
Something that is kind of baffling to me is there's no CCTV. There has not appeared to be any CCTV on the Enterprise. Why would that be? We're such a CCTV heavy community currently.
I don't know.
Maybe because in the future, in Starfleet and that sort of thing, the Federation, we all trust each other because we all want the same thing.
The same goals.
Which is humanity to survive and help our neighbors and, all of that.
That's not how it is.
Or Rebecca, I'm throwing this out there.
Yeah.
Is it all CCTV? Is everything that we see on Star Trek The Next Generation
This is just
security
found
camera footage?
All of Star Trek The Next
Hey.
Generation is just found footage.
No, if
It's Cloverfield.
if the cage is any evidence, you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Oh my God.
cameras everywhere, right?
I'm
Unrelated.
getting on board this. Jay.
Unrelated.
This is
I
great.
picked up Animal Crossing again, and I restarted my island, and I
Did
named it.
you?
I named it Talos 4, and my character is called Vina,
Awesome.
Oh,
and I love it a lot. I love it a lot. So Marla Finn, skeleton in the panel. Daniel arrived at the station 6 months after her disappearance. So Deanna concludes that she was seeing the incident through Walter's eyes and not Daniel's, and Finn was afraid of Walter. There is a whole instance where she's reliving this thing, and she's like, I saw him, but he looked weird, and that was crazy. And me, an observant, is like, oh, it was a reflection, and that's why it looked weird. But it takes her a few minutes because we need an hour-long show.
Now you
So-
know why we haven't seen her doing mysteries before.
Because it takes her a long time.
She's not good at it.
What I want to know is that she couldn't read that guy, Ryan or whatever his name was. I don't
Walter.
remember. Walter.
Close.
But she could read the others.
Well,
Is there an implication of that?
they explain it. They explain it, Jake. You of all people should know
they?
this.
Oh, I don't remember.
Wow.
Whoa.
That night, I'm just giving you a hard time, Jake.
Yeah,
That
of course.
night, Deanna finds Worf in Maddie's room and enters it and finds them kissing, and they both laugh at her. Deanna kills Worf with a phaser. Deanna, horrified, tries to commit suicide by jumping in the plasma flow of the same nacelle
No,
tube.
when she killed, I cheered when she killed him.
Why?
kidding, I'm
Do you just
kidding.
not like Worf?
Yeah, screw
kidding.
you, Worf.
Wow.
Up yours, Worf.
Whiny bitch.
Yeah.
You guys! Okay. I draw the line.
Hate's going up in here.
I can excuse calling Deanna slow, but I draw the line at calling her a bitch.
No, that was Worf.
Wait a minute. You
That
called,
was Worf.
you called
That's
her a
the
whore
through line.
earlier.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
You guys. We didn't warm up or anything before this episode. So.
Almost every week on this show, I've called Worf a whiny bitch.
That's true.
Oh, God, he is.
The shoe fits.
Now you are all laughing at me, and I'm going to go
You
find
headed to the
plasma.
nacelle.
Whiny bitch.
You know, Jake, it's a great way to go. I think it just disintegrates you. So, you know,
Painless.
Yeah, what do you think
instantaneous.
it's like?
probably
Do you
just
think
instant. I'll bet
like
it's just
the-
like stepping
the
through a
Titan
door.
submersible?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you think if I cracked the screen on my TV, I could feel what that would be like?
You got a plasma
Maybe.
TV? Maybe.
Yeah.
Or will it take you to whatever show you're watching?
Oh, that would rule most of the time.
Watching the new Handmaid's Tale. Oh, dang it.
Can you believe that show is still going? Actually, I think
can't.
it just
Well, it
finished.
This
Just
is
ended.
its last
Yeah, it just
season,
ended.
right?
But
Yes.
like, I remember watching that in 2017. That show's been going on forever.
I can't watch that show. It's too real.
Yeah. Well, tell me about it.
I mean, like, am I
everybody.
watching the news or is it The Handmaid's Tale? I can't tell.
Brazinga, everybody.
Dealer's choice.
All right.
Anyway, so she's about to kill herself. But Worf steps in, pulls her back. So this is where I lose my goddamn mind, you guys. Turns out what she had experienced after the first time she stood in front of the plasma flow was all a vision,
An illusion.
a dream.
So her and Worf didn't hook up, and I'm okay now.
There was no breakfast.
There was
Walter
no
and
Eggos.
Finn are both dead and were killed in an accidental plasma discharge 8 years ago. And Deanna thinks that Walter found that Finn was having an affair and killed her and then turned on the plasma and killed himself to make it look like an accident. Walter was part Beta Z and his psionic energy was imprinted on the panel in the nacelle chamber. Deanna saw flashes of Walter's memory, but imprinted and blah, 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 blah. I am starting to get really pissed off at the Next Generation for not committing to anything.
Well, that's the thing, though. You got to remember, TV back in those days, nothing ever actually changed. Almost everything was reset by the end of every episode, so they could continue telling the same
Syndicated.
characters.
Yeah, and it's
exactly.
pissing me off.
Oh yeah, stories are told much more long form these days, and I like it a lot
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
But
Grateful
in
to be
fairness-
alive in the present.
In fairness, Rebecca, there's 4 episodes left, so I think it's okay for you to have reached this point now.
Yeah.
You know, I had a
Yeah.
good run.
Well, like, especially because how many episodes ago did we have that whole instance with Beverly and Picard? What?
That's right.
What
When
have
they
we
had
seen
to
since
stay
then?
close together.
That's right.
Yeah, where they had to share one bed. Oh no. But like, like starting to get annoyed at the lack of commitment to any kind of meaningful
Change.
choice.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this was essentially an episode of CSI Starfleet, right?
And also the beginning, very much like, be on the lookout for signs of suicidal thoughts in your friends.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
CSI Starfleet.
Jordy putting on his.
Data combs his hair.
The only trivia I really have for this episode is Marina Sirtis recently had lip injections prior to filming this episode.
Oh, KCI. There was.
Did you
yeah.
notice? Did
I
you
did-
notice?
I
I
did
was like,
notice.
something's up with her. Something's different, and I couldn't tell what it was. I couldn't tell whether it was the uniform or the hair or what. There was something, and now that you say that,
It was lip injections because I
you
also
go.
noticed that. I was like, "Dang, girl treated herself at the beauty spa."
I think I see that so much on
Making
Instagram
that-
and Facebook these days that I've grown immune to it.
Tony, how far are you in Secret Lives of Mormon Wives?
I watched all of it.
Yeah, brother. Cannot wait to talk about it.
On season 1, we found the house I grew up in the opening credits.
Oh,
Are you for real?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. That shit's insane. You guys talked about it in therapy this week. That's another episode.
You
So
talked about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives in therapy this week. You know, I feel like I should go back to therapy after watching 2 seasons of it in 3 weeks.
yeah, and really discuss.
look, listen. It's dumb people arguing with each other. That's all that show is. And the more you watch, the dumber you get.
It's
'Cause it
the
rubs
only
off.
reality TV show I
wrong.
watch. It is the only one I watch.
I wish I could say the same.
What else are you watching, Tony?
Well, it's not on right now, but my wife and I watch The Bachelor stuff because we like to make fun of those dumb people.
Don't understand the appeal of The Bachelor.
Just said we like to make fun of those dumb people. Just like that, Carrie. Just like that.
Gary's soundboard's getting a workout today.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, let's talk about Genesis. This fucking episode.
Okay, guess what? Guess what?
You love this episode, Tony?
I did.
No,
I actually really
wait.
liked this
You
episode.
loved this Animorphs ass episode.
I did. Part of it is nostalgia based because I remember seeing at least part of this episode when I was a little kid. I think I had to leave the room when Spider, what's his face, shows up.
Barkley.
Barkley. Spider Barkley. Now, in defense of this episode,
Okay.
I think it has one of the best cold opens of any of the Star Trek episodes.
Oh, really?
When they're all the different characters are in sick bay getting worked on, and they give Riker a hard time for being such a hoe, and I thought it was a really good cold open.
Listen,
How do you
Tony.
feel about calling Riker a hoe, Rebecca?
Oh, allowed.
Okay.
Allowed, yeah.
I thought so.
Anything derogatory towards men, allowed. Doom, doom. Here's the thing, Tony. I will 1000% agree with you. The presentation of this episode overall was very good. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you why. Directed by Gates McFadden.
Oh, nice. Okay, the good
And
doctor directed this one.
I'm not saying women are better directors than men, but it's something to consider. So
Well,
When a new torpedo guidance system malfunctions.
Which I also loved about this episode because Worf's like, I redid the torpedo guidance system. It's going to be perfect. And then one torpedo goes pew, off in some direction.
Tony, I love your enthusiasm for this episode.
I liked this episode.
Picard and Data go chasing after it into an asteroid field while the crew is left behind to deal with their own strange behaviors. So, after some Arboretum visits, Dr. Crusher diagnoses nothing serious, but soon dozens of the crew members get behavioral deviations, affecting appetite, memory, and emotions. Barclay creates a huge cry over some minor symptoms and believes that he has some serious medical condition. Beverly gives Barclay a T-cell injection to cure his flu.
See, and
And
that's
as-
another.
Barclay
Go ahead,
was Barclay was on WebMD all night, trying to figure
Exactly. I was going
One
to say,
of the-
Barclay is WebMD, a cruiser of the future.
out. Yep.
One of the pieces of trivia, so dumb, is like Barclay is foreshadowing WebMD or some shit like that.
Exactly.
I'm like, okay, take a step back.
He's the guy that goes to the doctor and says, my throat hurts and I'm pretty sure it's cancer. According to my research, I got cancers.
I'm just saying hypochondriacs have existed probably since the beginning of time, and I'm not saying he foreshadowed the use
No,
of
you're
WebMD.
right. You're right. But she specifically tells him, stay off the Federation medical journal logs because he's been sitting there studying every symptom he can find, just like people do on WebMD. I loved that cold open because she just rails on him for being such a hypochondriac. And I think Barclay's an idiot. So yes, get him.
Sick 'em. So Worf first fails testing of diagnosing his new weapons guidance system and new photon torpedoes with an 11% higher yield. So
Womp
Picard
womp.
and Data have to chase a lost torpedo. Why does Picard have to go?
He just wants to get out of
For
it.
the
He's
plot?
bored.
I need to get out and walk around for a bit.
Pretty much. Yep.
The Enterprise can't chase the tornado in the asteroid field, and the torpedo is too far away to be destroyed by a phaser. So Data asks Barclay to take care of his cat Spot, who is pregnant.
Yeah.
Tell me how.
Data says.
Yeah,
There
I
are the
know,
cats
I know.
on board. Yeah.
But I thought the same thing. I
But
was
they're
like, how
not
does it-
fixed. Are you effing kidding me?
Yeah. No.
Or they're not 3D printed. Like,
Yeah. They're not hologram cats.
Nurse Alyssa Ogawa is also expecting a child. Data thinks he might be gone for days with Picard chasing the torpedo and hence needs Barclay to care for Spot and supervise the birthing process. And Data is also very much like, I need a human to supervise the birthing process because I feel like I wouldn't even know what to do. Suddenly,
despite the fact that I have all of those aforementioned
so
medical
much
journals right in my head.
programming.
Yeah.
But it shows me maybe Data's developing some empathy because he,
Oh.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say
Maybe.
so.
Sure.
Suddenly, there are unexplained changes amongst the crew. Barclay is full of energy, and Geordi has trouble keeping up with him. Deanna feels very cold and runs a hot bath for herself. Worf then bites Deanna, again hinting at their romantic endeavors, and turns into an erratic beast. Beverly examines Worf and finds a venom sac developing in his throat. When Beverly asks Worf to open his mouth, he sprays her with venom and escapes. And
Pause.
Gates McFadden gives a phenomenal acting performance right here.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. He sprays her in the face, and that is the last thing we see about her until the end when she's fine, taking care of people after they've been cured.
Well, she was off directing the episode.
That's what it was, because we see her fall to the ground. We don't know anything that happens to her after that.
Yeah, what sort of creature did she turn into?
No idea.
No idea.
Like,
Well, but also, here's what I don't understand, because everyone's de-evolving into what I assumed they had evolved from.
you're raising. Okay, I like where you're going with this.
So Riker
Cro-Magnon
turned
man.
monkey man, right?
Yeah.
Barclay, I presume, is human.
I thought he was too.
Yeah.
Why is he turning into a spider?
No idea. I had the same question.
Because
they, huh?
he caught the virus first. And the virus was like trying to figure
What's your
things out.
favorite animal? Maybe the virus is like, what's your favorite animal?
Because even the nurse is also caveman style.
Yeah.
Worf is caveman.
Worf.
Well, Worf- yeah.
Worf is like Like, so that's
Like
another question.
Worf and
I had.
Deanna, I am fully prepared to hand wave away whatever it is they turn
Yeah,
into.
because they're different
Because
species.
they're different. But yeah, why?
Well, but you remember the engineers from the previous episode, sprinkled their DNA throughout. And that's why all the humanoids look like humanoids throughout the galaxy. So maybe it has something to do with their evolution.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm playing. I'm trying to benefit of the doubt this.
You know what I think it is, Rebecca? You know what I think it
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
You spend that much time around the warp core, your DNA is going to get
Stuff.
mutated.
Things are
Just
going to get
stuff.
messed up.
Yeah.
So
Think about that. Yeah.
so
the only-
everyone's. Yeah,
I was
Tim?
going to say, maybe they just got tired of okay, he's going to have to be a caveman. She's going to have to be a caveman. He's going to have to be a caveman. They're like, we got to mix it up.
Yeah,
Do
we
a
can't just have a
spider
ship full of monkeys.
Exactly.
Or they ran out
What
of
it
caveman
probably
makeup.
really was, yeah, I was going to say, they went to Michael Westmore and said,
Yeah.
what can we have?
Well, I only got 2 caveman setups. How about a spider? I got a spider over there.
one.
And then this is a giant crab. We could make Worf into a giant crab.
Isn't
kind
that
of a thing.
fun? Isn't that fun? So Picard and Data return to the de-evolution zoo, and everybody is anamorphing their way into what they have evolved from. Data believes this is the work of a virus, which is delivering foreign T cells into the body, reviving dormant genes from ancestral species. Basically, humans carry DNA traces from their earlier evolution in the form of introns. T cells are activating those introns and randomly selecting which pre-evolutionary stage to change them into. So I guess we could technically...
You could say there's maybe some common genetic backgrounds between,
I don't claim
spiders
to
and
be a
stuff. I don't know.
biologist.
Yeah, me neither.
Anyway, so Picard, also infected. So he's gotta accomplish this stuff before he turns into presumably a monkey man. So he's gotta lure Worf away so Data can develop a retrovirus from genetic material after finding Spot's kittens, who are perfectly feline. And though Spot herself has turned into an iguana. Okay.
Yeah.
Follow-up questions.
Not even like a weird reptile cat hybrid thing, just a straight up iguana.
Or like that
Yeah.
dog that Kirk holds in the original series with the horn on it.
The thing? Yeah.
So somehow the kittens have the antibodies against the virus, and only humanoid antibodies will work on humanoid patients. So Alyssa is almost a primate, but her embryo remains unaffected. Data plans to use it to create the antivirus. This is when Worf attacks a sickbay. Picard deduces that Worf is trying to mate with Deanna.
He's like, look at this bite.
A regular Tom Cruise looking
Yeah.
to fuck a fish over here. Am I right, everybody? High five.
I've seen the way he looks at her.
This bite wasn't for mortal wounding. He was marking her.
So Data extracts Deanna's pheromones and enhances them. Picard runs with it to convince Worf that Deanna is in another part of the ship, thus giving Data time to prepare the antivirus. Data tests the antivirus on Alyssa and it works. Picard manages to knock Worf unconscious by shocking him with an electrical conduit. Data releases the antivirus in a gaseous state. Turns out Barclay's T-cell injection activated not just his dormant flu gene, but all other introns as well, and then infected the other crew members. Something they are leaving out. Didn't Alyssa lose the baby?
No,
No?
No,
think
I
so.
don't think so. I think they just.
Am I
no.
thinking of a
You-
different episode?
you are.
Yeah.
Oh,
Brutal. Okay, spoiler alert.
Yep.
Brutal, yikes. Okay, well.
there was one other piece of lore that I thought was interesting we learned in this episode, and it's that Data's computer in his room is separate from the main computer of the Enterprise. He has his own like supercomputer that he can use. I presumably to study humans,
Do
like
data
behavior and
Or,
stuff.
or
do
his
data stuff.
maybe his computer can't keep up with the ship's computer. Or no, the other way
way
around. The ship's
around, yeah.
computer can't keep up with Data's computer. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I thought that was interesting because they went to the main, one of the main consoles, and he's like, "Oh, this is broken. Wait a minute, my computer is separate, and like it was unique. Like it's not separate in every room, just in his." I just thought that was weird and
Interesting.
interesting.
He built it. He's like
be-
that awesome PC guy
Could be
Yeah.
that too. He's like,
Yeah.
I built this baby to play all the VR game, all the holodeck games.
I can run so many hours of World of Warcraft on this bad boy.
I can be Sherlock whenever I want with this guy.
Now, this is the second episode of season 7 that I think would be better as
An original series episode. 1000%. I finished this episode and I was like, maybe we should introduce a new thing on this show where we determine if this episode would make a good original series episode.
Now, hang on. You're making me not like this episode by doing this.
Or
Okay,
maybe just like the original series, Tony.
Refuse.
Strange New Worlds. It could be a Strange New Worlds episode.
Okay,
then.
how about
Easily.
that, Tony? Is
that-
that okay for your? Is that okay for your?
My brain can
preferences?
handle that, yes.
Okay, all right. For Tony.
Because I love
Tony
Strange
alone.
I love Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, I bet.
I do.
Derogatory.
But it's true.
So this episode, crazy. So won an Emmy Award for outstanding sound mixing for a drama series.
Huh.
Production on this. So Gates McFadden, who directed this episode, production was hindered by the California Northridge earthquake of 1994, and she didn't get the time she needed to produce her own cut of the episode as a result.
I wonder how
Methinks
different it would have been.
Could have been better because
No,
a
it
lot
can't
of
be. It's gold.
because a lot of other aspects of this episode are great, and I think it's because she's a female director. And like I said, not saying female directors are better than men, but it's just something to think about. She had also mentioned in an interview that the jars in sickbay that contained red and blue liquid never really had a purpose on the show, and she made it a point to incorporate their usage into the scene.
Nice.
My girl. And this episode received Star Trek 101's Spock's Brain Award for Worst Episode in Next Generation.
Oh, it's not the worst in
What?
Next Generation.
Once
the
again,
heck
I will
outta
throw
here.
out Code of Honor.
Yeah.
Code of Honor, hands down,
I mean,
is
it's
the
a
worst.
it's a bad episode, but it's not the worst episode.
Come on now, Sub Rosa, people.
Come on, Sub Rosa, masks. Come on.
Yeah.
And all of
not
this
even the
just
worst
into
episode
season
this season.
7.
Yeah, exactly. Not even this season.
That's right.
I have two pieces of trivia.
Yeah,
These are
let's
kind
hear
of
'em.
personal about
Love it.
my memories of this episode. This is where I learned, and I mentioned this last time, I think, that Brandon Braga writes weird shit. If his name is on the written
Can't
by
confirm.
credit, it's going to be weird.
Yep.
Yeah, this is solely a Brandon Braga episode.
And speaking of Sub Rosa, earlier this week I learned that Casper the Friendly Ghost last name is McFadden. That was on Jeopardy.
Okay. Oh, it was on Jeopardy.
Yeah, it was.
Crazy.
He has a last
Casper
name.
McFadden.
I thought
Yep.
it was Rich.
No,
I'm just-
well,
No, that's Richie.
well, but the
Rich
theory is
the
that Casper
dad.
is the ghost of
Ghost
Richie
of Richie
Rich.
Rich.
They look exactly the same.
Dad.
Exactly. the
But I'm just
same.
saying, a ghost, McFadden.
Okay.
Coincidence.
I'll get my red.
I
my
kind of
red
doubt
thread
that it
out.
is a coincidence, actually. I think that might have been like a movie producer Easter egg that snuck in that lore.
Something's always something. Let's talk about Journey's End. After the Federation grants access by the Cardassians to a planet already inhabited by Native Americans, Picard has the daunting task of relocating them. Ah!
This
Now,
was.
see- Now, see, if this was an original series episode, Kirk would have just shown up as Kirok and led his people away.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Or would Kirk have defended his people?
Well, yeah, he would have, as Kirok, defended his people, I suppose. I
So our friend Wesley shows up. Isn't that nice? He's on leave from Starfleet Academy, but
Come
right
on,
out,
leave me alone.
right
That's
out the
exactly
gate, he
how it
is
came out.
pissy. He's gloomy, moody. He's being a rude little dude.
I don't like Starfleet Academy.
Man, poor Geordi. Tries to show him
Geordi-
something he was excited about working on, and he's like,
And
"That's
Wesley's
a piece
like,
of
"That's a piece of
crap,
shit.
what that
That's not gonna work right." And I'm like, "Oh my
I
god!"
could have done it better.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, it's not easy being the smartest person ever. Shut up.
Just such a little rude dude. And so Beverly is tired of his shit, calls him out on it, and Wesley says that he is sick of living up to everyone else's expectations and their rules and their regulations.
Man.
Okay. Take a beat. Go color your Converse
I
or
want to
something.
go live in the garage, man.
Go add some safety pins to your jeans,
Go
Wesley.
hang up a Kurt Cobain poster in the garage, man, and listen to music.
Go replicate some weed and just chill out.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, what's the deal there with weed in Starfleet?
In the future?
I don't think
Yeah.
it's ever mentioned.
It's there.
Is
it's
it?
mentioned. It's mentioned
Is
in
it really?
Picard.
What's
Oh,
the
in Picard.
what's the delivery system? Oh yeah, because he needs it for his advanced cancer.
Sure.
No,
And what's the delivery mechanism for this future weed?
they don't clarify that, but I would assume it's a hypo spray.
Oh, I'm sure it's a pipe.
The most efficient way possible.
I got this pipe from Sir Ian McKellen when he was working on Lord of the Rings. My dear
Data's
friend
Sherlock
Ian.
Holmes pipe.
Yes.
So Picard has a meeting with Admiral Nechayev again, and she informs. It's a little bit warmer this time. He's been buttering her up.
Yeah, it's been a rough go with these two.
It's got sandwiches.
So she informs Picard that the Federation has concluded a peace treaty with the Cardassians, which reassigns several planets, including one where a tribe of Native Americans relocated 20 years ago.
Oops.
The treaty will also lead to the creation of a demilitarized zone between the Federation and the Cardassians. Neither side will be allowed to put a star-based military outpost or conduct fleet exercises or station warships anywhere in the demilitarized zone. Nechayev tells Picard that the group was warned about settling on a planet so close to Cardassian territory, but the warnings were ignored by them. Okay. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, everybody. You're gonna do this to the Native Americans again?
Yep.
Even Picard is like, yo, dog,
Oh yeah. He was,
I don't know
Immediate-
about this.
immediately he was like, "Wait a minute. I know those people and
Yeah.
I know their history. This is a bad idea."
Bad idea.
Not ideal. So Picard, he's like, hey, listen, lady, these guys have like a whole history of this, and you want to do this again? The government has always been so unsympathetic to these people.
Yep.
What are you thinking? And so he has to relocate the colonists who refuse to be uprooted a second time. Like, yeah, of course. So Picard offers the Native Americans choice between any of the three worlds in the same sector with conditions like that of Dorvan 5, but the chief says it took 200 years for them to find a planet that welcomes them. They have a spiritual bond with it. Picard informs them that the planet needs to be handed over to the Cardassians and the Native Americans need to leave whether they like it or not.
I would like a little more backstory about the 200-year search, personally. Just like, basically, were they in ships for 200 years, just kind of
Like
wandering,
Asgardians?
looking? Yeah, or did they stay on Earth for a while and just send out scouting ships, or like I'm really curious how they found it. Like, but I mean, that's obviously not really the main point of the story. It just got my curiosity going.
Jake, could you
Yeah,
write
Jake,
that?
do you have an answer?
Yeah,
for-
I don't have an answer except that it sounds like, I don't remember the name of that show, but it was the show that's like space pioneers, and there was a ship named Nauvoo.
The Expanse?
The Expanse, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Get Lee
you
in-
think
get
they just
Lee in
set out?
there.
They just set out in a direction for 200 years, and
Yeah.
they're like, okay, what are we gonna find?
Yeah.
I respect that. You know.
Their chief claims that Picard is there to acquit his ancestors' part in the slaughter of his tribe 23 generations ago. In the 1600s, the Spanish attacked the Native Americans on Earth and killed hundreds and maimed thousands. One of the soldiers was Javier Maribona Picard. To the Native Americans, nothing is truly random. This is the reason that Picard has come to them, to erase the stain of blood. So the Cardassians arrived 6 weeks early for a, air quotes, legal survey of the colony, stirring resistance. Picard reminds the Cardassian commander Golivek, our friend Golivek, who has returned, that for 6 weeks the planet is still Federation territory. Picard pleads with Nechayev to reopen the issue of Dorvan 5, but she says that the request was already denied by the Federation.
That's the interesting thing about this ambassador is she, from the way she talks, she's obviously tried everything she could already to make this situation better. And she's just like, my hands are tied, which, I get, but I also don't really respect in situations like this. Cause it's
like how I understand the grand theory of the good of the many outweighs the
needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Whatever. But the optics.
Yeah, the optics.
The optics.
Yeah, a little problematic.
Meanwhile,
and I think it's kind of cool in a sense that they gave Nechayev a little bit of a redemption arc here with that.
Yeah.
Because we've hated her so much for so long.
Right.
And that Picard put the spread out, and as she's leaving, she's like,
Sandos.
you know what? Thanks.
Yeah. That was nice.
thanks for trying. Meanwhile, Wesley, on the planet, has accepted an invitation from because he's got to go kick dirt somewhere. He's accepted an invitation from a Native American, LaConta, who claims to have seen him during his vision quest to undertake his own quest on the planet. LaConta has convinced Wesley that he has come to the planet to seek his own answers, and Dorvan 5 is where he will find them. LaConta takes Wesley to his sacred prayer room. Here, the tribe meditates and has visions. It leads to Wesley's late dad telling him that it's time to take a different path from his. Wesley emerges from his trance and alerts the village on how Picard is trying to beam everybody to the Enterprise without their agreement. We got a little rebellious Wesley going on.
I love LaConta's just like, you want to come...
Want to do some peyote?
You want to come do some peyote and stare into a fire with me? Wesley's like, yeah.
Yes.
Why not?
Anything sounds better than being
Absolutely.
stuck up here.
Picard, furious with Wesley, and is telling him to obey orders. And Wesley is clear that what Picard is doing is wrong. And Picard's like, yeah, dog.
I know.
This prompts Wesley to resign from Starfleet, and Beverly is distraught, but remembers how the Traveler, deep cut, the Traveler told them that Wesley should not be stopped from pursuing his own journey.
By the way, when the Traveler said that, he said to Picard, do not tell the mother this. Straight up.
Oh, that's right.
Interesting callback, Jay.
God.
So the
Maybe
villagers...
she learned it through that attached mind reading thing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Or,
I like that answer.
Whoa.
or maybe he told Picard to say it, not to tell her because he knew that would make Picard tell her.
Yeah.
Because he's like, this is really
Who
important.
are
if
you,
I'm-
the entity in Mission Impossible Final Reckoning?
Maybe.
So, let's see. The villagers take the Cardassians hostage. Good. Gullyvec threatens to send down an armed escort to occupy the village, and Picard tells him that he has sworn to protect Federation citizens. A firefight. There was a firefight. And that's when Wesley freezes time
Yeah.
and realizes that LaConta is actually the Traveler. And the Traveler welcomes Wesley into the new plane of existence. Okay.
You're a Time Lord, Wesley.
Yep, basically.
Here I was 2 episodes ago complaining about how I'm mad that Next Generation won't commit to anything. And suddenly, here they are, making a pretty bold step in a direction with one of their flagship characters. So, Evek listens to Picard and beams his team back up. Picard hammers out an agreement that the Native American people will give up their status as Federation citizens and they will come under Cardassian jurisdiction. Gullyvec says the Cardassians will establish their own colony on the planet but will leave humans to inhabit it. Well, isn't that great? Wesley stays on Dorvan 5 with the Traveler. Let's talk about Wesley's whole deal here now, because insane. I was messaging Jake about this episode, and he mentioned an interesting fact about the novelization. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
That's from For All Good Things. So
Oh,
the novelization of All Good Things, and so that's where he's watching.
right.
In
right,
the, in the
right.
novelization of that, he's shown in a scene watching All Good Things unfold on a tapestry on that planet,
Hilarious.
and he's like, "I gotta go," and the traveler's like, "Do you though?"
It's like
But yeah,
it's like if I were approached by a Q, like obviously in a heartbeat, go with the Q.
Right. I have to say, Rebecca, that this is the episode's quality. You can argue about it forever. It is probably the second most important episode of the seventh season for sure, and top 5 most important episodes of Next Generation. Period.
What?
Because it impacts literally everything else except Discovery and Strange New Worlds. This launches a storyline that ties into Deep Space Nine. It launches a major character on Voyager. It impacts the modern shows like Picard and Prodigy and Lower Decks. This is a pivotal episode.
Oh, I didn't think about it that way. Yeah.
Interesting.
I was just caught up in all the poor choices. But no, you're right. It is pivotal.
Interesting.
I
This
thought
Which is
So-
probably why they committed to it, because they
But-
knew at the time how it would influence Voyager and Deep Space Nine, and they needed to set that foundation.
But do they commit to Wesley here? Because while this is his last appearance on Next Generation, he apparently shows up in Nemesis wearing Starfleet uniform.
Yeah, that was a screw up, and if you ask Will, he explains it in his mind canon.
In
Well,
his
he shows
mind
up-
canon. Okay.
Well,
shows
up-
we have a
Rebecca.
special guest here. Come on out, Will. Just kidding.
He shows up again later, and
Yeah, he does.
It sticks with the with the timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what he said was that as a traveler, he just kind of shows up whenever and wherever, and
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Well, what other clothes do you have? You're going to a wedding," and he's like, "Nothing," and Picard is like, "Well, you were an ensign. We'll give you an ensign's dress uniform."
Okay.
That works.
Okay. Okay. Are there novelizations about Wesley's adventures?
There must be.
I don't.
There's
I don't
not.
think there are novels
There
of
should be.
that. There
Are
may
there
be one or
comics?
two, but his adventures come into fold very heavily in Prodigy, Star Trek Prodigy.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
A
I
show
forgot
for
about
children.
So
Okay, but that is kind of crazy though. If there's no like comics or novelizations about Wesley's adventures.
I'm sure there are. I haven't read them. Or,
There's gotta be.
Speaking
them.
of R.I.P. Peter David,
yeah,
Yeah.
isn't that crazy?
huge bummer.
Yes.
Let's talk about
Well-
our. Oh, one more. Yes.
One other thing
Oh,
that
yes. Yes.
I thought was interesting. So they mention the traveler mentioned specifically that that he is the next step in evolution, right? And I was sitting there like, wait a minute, we have Picard talking about evolution, just like this, as not Picard, but I mean Patrick Stewart as Xavier, the opening narration to the X-Men movie.
Here's how this all ties
Right?
together.
Mutation. It is the key to our evolution. It has enabled us to evolve from a single-celled organism into the dominant species on the planet. This process is slow and normally takes thousands and thousands of years, but every few hundred millennia, evolution leaps forward. I was like, oh, that's
And it leaps forward quicker when Barclay gets sick.
Evolution.
same thing
the
that just
final
happened here.
frontier.
Yes.
I just want to wrap up really quickly on this episode.
Yeah.
Like Wesley Crusher legit is my favorite character. I discovered Star Trek. I'd seen an episode or two of the original series. I'd seen Star Trek 4 in theaters, but I truly discovered Star Trek thanks to Cheerios.
No
Ooh, what?
way.
Yep.
You still got the Cheerios in that box?
No. They were long since gone. But on the back,
There you go.
Oh, hold on.
there was a kid,
We're gonna make that bigger for you.
and there was representation, right?
This
could be you.
You.
Yeah, yeah. And so he was my entry point.
Okay,
to
wait.
Star
Pull
Trek.
that box back up.
Yeah.
This is a contest. Win an appearance on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yep.
Who won this?
It was an elderly woman from like Michigan or somewhere, and she took the cash.
Oh,
Yeah, they were like, "You can come be on the show, or we'll give you $5,000 or something."
Was she a
$37.
fan?
I don't think so.
That's why
Oh
she
my
took the cash. That's why she took the cash.
think of all the Honey Nut Cheerios I can buy now, though.
Brutal.
And I can't. We can't let this episode go without just me just talking about my affection for my friend Will. You know, oh, you can't really see that.
Hold on,
There we
we'll
go.
get you.
Turn this off, actually.
There we go.
Well, that made it worse.
It's reflecting. Yeah.
Screen.
There we go.
There you go. That's
There we
better.
go.
Yeah. That's awesome.
We were shooting the final episode of The Ready Room. For now, I'm contractually obligated to say, a year ago.
Nice.
And Will gave that to me.
That's very cool.
As a thank you for working on the show. And
It's way cool.
this is his.
I remember seeing that. Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa, what is that?
During Pride, he has a little stand or a little shop on stands.com, I think it is, where he sells Wesley Crusher themed Pride gear. Mm-hmm. And
That's cute.
he's been really supportive of my queer kids and that kind of thing. So for me, Wesley Crusher really is just
The guy.
everything, the guy.
Yeah.
And he also, this is a little known fact, Wesley Crusher is the most expensive action figure in all of Star Trek action figures ever.
Really?
In the original 1988 Galoob line, they made a prototype of him, and a few were made.
I was going to say, I don't recall ever seeing a Wesley
Carry
action
it now.
figure.
There were a dozen of these prototypes made, and now they go for upwards of 10 grand.
Holy moly.
You don't find them very often, but when you do,
I mean, because I think he had a Playmates when
yeah, he had
Playmates picked it
two
up.
in the Playmates. Yep.
But Galoob, you're right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought they just didn't produce it because he wasn't on the show. You know, or something, because he left,
They did, and they had a Romulan that was based on the first season Romulans played by Mark Alemo, who would go on to be Gul Dukat.
Gul Dukat,
So
yeah.
there's a Romulan action figure prototype of Gul Dukat. And I'm raising my glass to the Ready Room today in honor of Will. I will now shut up, and we can talk about the whiny bitch dad.
Whitey
Listen,
bitch dad!
Oh, got him.
I respect your insight, Jake, very much. So
Yeah.
thank you very much. Firstborn, come on, be nicer to Worf, you guys. Firstborn, in an effort to help him accept his Klingon heritage, Worf and his son Alexander attend an ancient Klingon ceremony. I feel like, if I were to put this in human terms, Worf is a lapsed Catholic and he feels bad about it. And so he is trying to get Alexander to
go to
go to
church.
mass. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
And Alexander's like,
that's
and
okay.
we cannot get mad at Alexander for not really wanting to explore his Klingon heritage. He
Yeah.
has not been raised amongst the
No.
Klingons.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and the food's terrible. I mean,
The food's terrible.
No, we know he likes the food because when they get down there, Worf hands him a big pile of dried worms, and he's just like, "Yeah, buddy," starts
yeah.
stuffing his face.
Chips.
But at the same time, his mom was like, I don't really want you being a part of that.
Yeah,
That's
As
right.
a lapsed Catholic herself. So
Right.
Worf is worried when his preteen son Alexander, at the age to commit to becoming a warrior, refuses the ceremony. Or this is, I guess, like a lapsed Mormon who doesn't want to get baptized.
yeah,
Pick your poison.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the 8-year-old didn't decide.
Yeah. Ugh. Alexander maintains that his mother told him that he didn't have to become a Klingon warrior if he didn't want to. So Picard grants them leave for visit to a Klingon outpost on Maranga 4, where the boy gets a taste for Klingon fight training. Worf believes that a taste of Klingon culture and beliefs would ignite Alexander's passion for Klingon rituals. They also become the target of a murder attempt, which Kim Tar ascribes to the surviving sisters of the House of Duras, our friends B'Etor and Lursa.
Yes. The sexiest Klingons you know.
Kim Tar says that he is a trusted advisor of Worf's house. He was sent by Worf's brother Kurn as he had heard rumors on the home world that an assassination attempt would be made against the House of Mogh. He says that the Duras sisters want Kurn's seat on the High Council. Kim Tar says that Kurn has no male heir, and so it is imperative that Alexander prepares himself to lead the House of Mogh. Kim Tar insists that Alexander has to complete his warrior training. And the entire time Kim Tar is on screen and every interaction he has with Alexander, me on my couch, I'm like, this guy rocks. He's an awesome mentor.
And I was the opposite. I was just like,
Really?
Who is this guy?
I was that way too.
Come on.
And this is how anally I examine things sometimes.
Okay.
If you watch any, I didn't say examine anals, anally examine. If you watch,
Proctologist Tony.
yeah, let's get in there. If you watch, if you look at, if both of them are on the screen at the same time, I noticed this the first time they were close together. Their ridges are the same.
Exactly.
Whoa.
And I was
Identical.
watching that, and I was like, wait, do all Klingons don't have the same ridges?
No,
and then
they
it
do
cut
not.
to Worf, and I was like, yeah, those are different. It's like, what's going on here? How come they have the same ridges? Continue.
Klingons have ridges.
Ruffles have ridges.
Yeah, just like the chips. So they track down the Duras sisters, and Riker offers a bribe to a Ferengi trader involved in illegal mining. On the planet, they find a stranded alien Gorta who says that the sisters are selling the ore to a Euridian trader in the Ufandi system. The Enterprise finds them there. The Klingon ship was in the process of making the ore transfer, but the sisters deny their involvement and suggest a mystery killer. And I hate to say it, I was happy to see them again.
Lursa and B'Etor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think
We
I
all-
like
we all-
them, but
we
I
all
like
have
when
our-
they're there.
We all have our kinks. It's okay.
Well,
I like
hey
the
now,
Genesis
Carrie.
episode.
Kim Tar fails to convince Alexander or Worf that the boy should enroll in a Klingon school to get rid of his human morals. He tries to argue that if Alex learned to become a warrior, he could protect his father from any future attacks on his person. Kim Tar tries to train Alex on the holodeck, but Alex just can't bring himself to kill anyone. And who could blame him?
What a little wuss.
No, he's been raised in this particular environment where, of course, he would have these morals. Of course, he would not be able to just kill somebody.
Until the comic books, much later.
Well,
That's another.
that's another.
Yeah.
Kim Tar is adamant that if Alex stays on the starship, he will never be a warrior and he will never be able to defend his own family against future attacks. And if Worf doesn't agree to send Alex to Klingon school on the home world, Kim Tar threatens to challenge Worf's fitness to raise the boy. To confront the Duras sisters, Worf produces the knife used by the assassin to attack him. It bears the signature of the House of Duras. Case closed. But the sisters are aghast because the knife bears the markings of Lursa's yet unborn child. Only B'Etor knows about this unborn child, and they demand to know where this knife came from. When they introduced this with the knife, I was like, oh, okay, fascinating. I like the turn that the show makes right here. Worf goes to find Kim Tar, whom he finds lurking over Alex's bed, pulling a pistol, ready to shoot Alex. Worf stops him and is about to strangle him when Kim Tar says he is Alexander and he has come from 40 years in the future. Everyone take a second to gather your brains from the floor. Future Alex says that in the future, Worf is killed by Lursa's current unborn son, and Alex was not able to protect him as he was not trained to be a warrior. I was raised a little bitch by a little bitch dad.
See what I'm saying? Kill things.
Why go kill your younger self when killing Lursa is an option.
Yeah. Yeah, the logic there seems a little flawed. Wasn't very good at fighting or thinking, apparently.
So Alex is a diplomat and tried for peace and failed. So he came to the past to convince himself as a boy to get trained. When he realized that he could not change Alexander's mind, he decided to kill him to change the future, as future Alex blames himself for the death of Worf. Worf says that he realizes that Alex has his own destiny and will now never force him to be a warrior. Interesting choices being made here. Death in the cause of peace is honorable and acceptable to Worf. Kimtar leaves for his own time. Would have loved a little bit more of an exploration into
The time travel aspect.
the time travel aspect of this.
Yeah.
I mean, Worf didn't even. By the way, how did you get here?
No.
No.
Well, so isn't there something to do with time crystals on Cronus and
Borath, the Klingon monastery on Borath, and
Exactly.
they're the keepers
There
of the
you
time
go.
crystals.
So I
and-
mean, I guess
There you go.
Everybody knows this.
if the Klingons knows their history, then they can go, oh, I need to go there to time travel.
Well, and Dr. McCoy explained to you, you sure you slingshot around the sun and you get in time warp, but you don't,
Yeah.
we've seen it. So yeah, I guess it would.
I just have to point out, like Tony, and I remember this one from when I was 14, I think was when this came out. I noticed the ridges almost immediately as well, because they look a
That's-
lot like Worf's too.
Yeah, they're similar.
That's so funny to me. I have never closely examined Klingon ridges.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
so-
all different.
and when they're first on screen together, it does some close-ups of both of them. So it's right up in their faces, and I'm just like, those ridges are the same. What the heck?
Yeah, the ridges are like fingerprints.
Like fingerprints.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
The other comment is Lursa and B'Etor were the only action figures my mom wouldn't let me get.
Oh,
too sexy?
No.
Well, they got the window.
Yeah,
They got that
window.
boob window.
The boob
Yep,
window.
it was a little too prominent for her comfort level.
We got the Power
I-
Girl suit.
I don't know why I'm surprised, but I guess I'm surprised they had action figures in the first place.
Yeah, they
Actually, yeah.
Playmates line had,
Yeah.
They're in,
Hilarious.
3 episodes, 2 episodes, and they got their own action figures?
for now they're only.
True.
No, don't tell me they show up again.
Okay.
All right, I will.
You may or may not encounter them a couple more times, in fact.
Okay.
They referenced one of them in this episode, where they were like, when they call Quark, and they're like, "Hey, Quark."
Oh, right. Speaking of, he appears in high definition on the high def release of this episode as of 2024. The official HD remasters of Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Voyager have not been released, so this is the only formal 1080p version of Quark.
It makes me so mad that they didn't do 1080p Deep Space Nine 4K.
There's still time.
There's
you
still
know,
time.
But they
should
say it's unlikely they will because it's so expensive, right, Jake?
Yeah, and there's a Deep Space Nine documentary where they did
Yeah.
a fair amount of upgrading of certain scenes, but in the process of doing those certain scenes, a lot of the original tapes have been lost, and they don't have the footage to upscale everything.
Damn.
Yeah.
This is the final appearance of Alexander Rozhenko, but he will reappear as an adult in Deep Space Nine. Alexander Rozhenko will return with Thanos. And
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart only appears in the first observation lounge scene, and this was due to Patrick Stewart being scheduled to host Saturday Night Live the same week of filming with Salt and Pepper. Well, what do we think? Best episodes ever? Jake obviously thinks so. Yes.
Well, one of them, I don't think it's the best episode ever. It's just I told you it was pivotal.
yeah.
By the way,
Genesis.
I meant to say on that Journey's End episode, there's a deleted scene on the DVDs or on the Blu-rays where Picard welcomes Wesley aboard. He goes to Wesley's quarters and is like, "Sorry, I wasn't there in the transporter room, but welcome back home, Wesley.
Oh,
How's my friend
nice.
Boothby?" And Wesley's like, "I don't care. He's a punk."
Slap some respect on your elders,
Yeah,
Wesley.
and Picard's like, "Oh, okay. You kind of got tired of him. I understand that.
He just accepts it. And
What
goes
did it?
off.
He's like, yeah, that guy's a punk.
He is.
But he's like, I think I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Ooh, a moody teenage boy. Ah.
Shut up.
So next episode, we will be talking about only 3 episodes: Bloodlines, Emergence, and Preemptive Strike. And I'll tell you what, men of the Enterprise love finding out their dads. Ain't that right, you guys?
Pleasant surprise.
Yeah, across the board, pleasant surprises for everyone. But any last words? Anybody? I never know how to end an episode, so.
I want us to get to Deep Space Nine so quickly. I
we're
want
so
Worf's
close, Carrie.
I want Alexander's time travel machine so we can go forward.
We're almost there, Carrie. We
We
just
got
had.
months.
One other thought about the Alexander episode too. I think it was done better on the animated series.
Oh my God, which episode was that? I'm drawing
Yesteryear,
a blank.
where Spock goes through the Guardian of Forever and protects his younger self.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
The
Boom.
Guardian of Forever shows up again in the animated series?
The
know
animated
that.
series is considered season 4 of the original series.
Yeah, it rips. Also,
Apparently.
the Star Trek. Oh, what was that video game that I played last year? Resurgence.
Yeah.
He shows up. He pivotal. Actually, he's like a main character.
That's the only TOS episode I've seen all the way through is with the Guardian of Forever when they go back in time.
Well, yeah, and
To,
McCoy's coked out of his mind.
Assassins!
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Murderers!
Tony, I implore you to watch not only The Cage but Menagerie Parts 1 and 2.
I'll think about it.
You're giving him homework.
I'm imploring. I'm not saying he has to. They are.
You're like, if you don't watch those 3, you can't come back.
You're a jerk and you don't deserve Star Trek. But
You have to watch them because we'll discuss them on a future episode just in time for Strange New Worlds to come back. We're not going to do that.
But like before, because Strange New Worlds comes back in July, right?
August.
August.
Yeah.
Oh no, July 17th. Yeah.
Yeah, July.
Yeah, end of July, yeah.
The Cage and Menageries Part 1 and 2, I think some of my favorite original series episodes because of the implications and just what they do for our friend Captain Pike. I love the concept of it.
Fine, I'll watch it. Just shut up.
Oh, shut up, Wesley.
Go to your room, Wesley.
This is the worst warp core thing I've ever seen. Read some modern literature.
Get your
on it,
words
dude.
out.
Why don't you go dress all in black and listen to Ministry?
I feel strange, but also good. That
All
may or may
right.
not have been a quote directly from my mouth a month ago.
Okay, well, in the you know how we usually end this show. We'll see you next time, but until then, we will keep going where no person or thing has gone before, but a lot of people and things have gone before. Goodbye.